I think the common theme of the last 10 days or so, and it seems to be ramping up, and this common theme is the recycling of old patterns. It's the mixed messages within the patterns that are resurfacing. And so in some ways you're like, I'm safe, I trust, I'm making progress, moving forward. Each day is professing how steady and anchoring I am becoming. And then you get hit with the flip side of the page. I'm not so safe. I'm not at all steady. Everything just got all jumbled up again. And it's really uncomfortable. And it's hitting my core issues. And it's triggering. It's doing that too. It's triggering multiple messages. So for me, it's creating multiple personalities to deal with all of them. And one of my personalities is always humor. But in going into these triggers, there are some core issues that are requiring me to ask deeper questions or maybe feel it in a deeper level of myself. And then there's other triggers that just leave me shaking my head and very miffed and befuddled and sometimes feeling like I just can't. It's fuck it in the bucket, man. I just can't. It's just too much. It's just too much. So there's all this flip-flopping of how do I handle and find new coping skills or dig deeper into the coping skills that I know and ask to be shown more information on those pathways. And, it goes back to a lot of things that I've said. It's like we are our own pioneer now. And old ways of doing things don't sustain. They're not sustainable. And they've crumbled. And you just can't keep going with those patterns expecting a different result, creating more insanity within your circle of energy, your circle of world, your circle of triggers, your circle of life lessons that are all presenting in a very, very fast-paced Ferris wheel. Ferris wheels used to be something you get on and la 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 la, you're gradually going up and around. It's very consistent, right? And then you may get up to the top and linger a little bit and get a bird's eye view of surroundings. And then it may go back around again, right? But you're still in a steady pace. Well, now it's like whoever the operator is, it's like it's a video game that many of us need to get out of fast because it's really short-circuiting all of our pathways because we're still trying to use old pathways of information, see, sensing, and feeling in the new energies. So for me, what I'm finding is I am having to just take things in stride a little bit more and be okay with the just letting go and throwing my hands up and saying, okay, I surrender. I just completely surrender. I obviously don't have all the controls in front of me. So what things can I control? And really the only thing is your reactionary responses and your breath through all of it, right? So there's just too many remote controls that you're just going to have to put down. But yet there's no one particular master control. And then you're not going to know which control to use for what if you don't just surrender to it and allow things to be shown to you through the expression of the changings of energies. And then also looking at everything as a pathway of information. There's absolutely nothing wrong. There's absolutely nothing right. There's absolutely nothing in between. It's simply information. And how do I allow it to flow through my body with grace and ease like the breeze? So I think nothing of it. And I'm not holding on to it. But there can be places in the physical, energetic, emotional, spiritual body that already has some solid mass. And then some of these triggers are hitting it. So it's calling our attention to it. Like, owie, okay. So before we build up to so much frustration and get angry and just totally fuck it in the bucket, and that's a metaphor for I just can't, I give up, I'm just not touching this. It's more like I'm just going to put this in this bucket and I'm going to allow my guide team, my higher self, to tell me how to pay attention to it. But let me just say this. Ow. I love you. Okay. Thanks for sharing and showing me. All right. That at least I know it's there. And how do I maneuver and navigate so I can create no more deeper injuries and pain, but I can work through it. Now, another thing that is presenting itself seems to be this vicious cycle of repeating. Some of it, I say vicious, because some of it is what is creating the hurt and the pain in those bodies, because it's really being brought up to the surface to be skimmed off. And I did a video a couple years ago about surface, skim, surface and skim. Just a little bit at a time. Patience. Surface it, skim it, and be patient with it. Because we're not just a boiling pot of water. Stuff is coming up, we're releasing it. That isn't going to serve the main ingredient in there, or the consistency that we need those ingredients to be. So for me, what's been coming up is, here I am, 32, 33 years later. The big 30. It's like 30, 33, right? I'm back living in the same area I was in the late 80s, 90s. I'm going into the same grocery store, same pharmacy. I'm going down all the memory lanes. And I've been here now for 2 years. So that's why I was saying 30 to 33 years. I'm back in all the old stomping grounds as a different person. I even got hired to go into an office to open up their medical aesthetic side in one of the old buildings I used to work at 30 to 33 years ago. Yeah. So I've been going in there lately going, everything looks the same. The parking spaces, the elevator, even to the decor of the lobby of the building. And I am doing my best to stay fully grounded and solid in physical form and keeping my everything under this umbrella and in this hood so that I can truly see, sense, and feel what it is that's looking at everything as a learning and a teaching second. And then just the other day, a girlfriend said, hey, come on down to my place. Let's make lunch. And she's in an old building that I used to walk by constantly that holds a small grocery store, a market. And she said, let's go to the market. And I literally felt like I went through a backwards tunnel. Everything was the same. Everything. And so I'm looking around thinking, what is this with these portals that I'm walking through right now? And the only answer that's coming to my mind right now is I'm in much more solid form. And I'm seeing, sensing, and feeling things with such an observance from a wisdom keeper. So everything is about wisdom, wiser thoughts, wiser perceptions, wiser acceptance. And just solidifying how far I've come, not the fact that I've slid backwards, because I haven't. I'm meeting things from the past here in my now moment, which would have been future to then. But I'm meeting all of that and all of these very interesting timelines that I don't have the mental capability or capacity or understanding with the energetic IQ that I have been accustomed to using. So this steps into the fact that we're moving into another energetic IQ of processing people, places, things that are presenting that may seem very, very familiar, yet very foreign. And this seems to be a common theme across many of my videos. And it also goes back to when I started doing videos 3 years ago, and a lot of the messaging that came through then that I may not have articulated as well here, but I understood here on a different communication thread. So for me, I just know stuff. But in knowing it, I don't always feel the need to have to describe it in such eloquent ways as others do. So some people just have this gift of just presenting things in beautiful symphony of words. Mine's more in a beautiful symphony of feeling. And when I work with clients or friends or situations, it comes from a feeling, and that feeling is contagious. It is felt. It is transferred. And so the way Spirit has me walking through some of my own talents and recognizing the fact that they are talents, that my quiet observation and my feeling mechanisms are on high gear, and they are my talent and my superpower, and how they transfer over to others. I'm very careful with my vocabulary and my words. Because the way Spirit has shown me is that this transference of energy is then received by the other person and then translated within their own visual, their own vocal vocabulary, their own chords of feelings. And so there's less of a mental process of words. And so when I came on to do this video, as most of my videos, I have no idea where they're going to go. I just allow my higher self to come through and put it together in hopes that it all makes sense and can be transmitted out and received for the higher good of those who are taking it in. And that it will be processed in ways that are extremely helpful to have you think, sense, and feel, which is empowering. So my whole goal is to have people really tap into how they feel and to own that, and to be okay if 100 other people in the room had absolutely no freaking clue that you weren't even worried about what any of those thought, or feeling like you need to solicit or convert people to the way you think, that you can be okay as one of those 100 people, being very different and not feeling isolated or weird because you get it on a different key. It's a different key, a different note, different frequency. And whether they all get it or not is irrelevant. The fact that you're learning it is one of the most important and powerful knowingness of evolving and growing as the divine blueprint you came in to see, sense, and feel. That so much of this other programming has been nothing but a distraction. It's been all a learning. And how each of us decide to learn our lessons is up to us. But sometimes we need to reach out and have someone help us hone in our skills and our tools and have better guidance so that we can be better navigators of our world. This world, the hood. And that is why I do what I do as an embodiment coach. Everything is customized to the need of that person, and the messages just come through. So just be patient. If I could just suggest that you work on new dialogues, new ways of communicating with yourself, and that may take some isolation. That really may take an email to me and getting together a few times and seeing if we can collaborate. And together our superpowers become more powerful. And we begin to change within ourselves and evolve. And then we begin to lift up and evolve and help the universe on its beautiful musical symphony and chords, because we're all part of the orchestra, every one of us. So much love to each and every one of you. I appreciate your likes, your subscribes, and your shares. And more importantly, I appreciate your comments. And I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.